with your levels in terms of. What is it? What's happened? Hello? Pair market connection? Yeah, what's happened, boys? You're hacking me? Ah, you wanna get my $7, do you? No, please. Please don't. Big done out. Stealing my monies. Oh man, we're at 988 followers. Are there going to be 12 people in the chat that hit follow? So A, you can hear Michael Saylor, and B, I can suck myself off a little bit. I've got to 1,000 followers on twitch.tv and I can tell my mum. Dear mum. I've made it as a niche internet micro celebrity. Yeah, it messed up a bit, sorry, I don't know what's going on. My connection. Dunning-Kruger. Yeah, that's not great, is it? That's not great at all. Can I talk about AO? Yes. Give me 1 second, because what I did was I was kind of talking about ETH before, and I don't know if that came across or not. So yes, ETH. You know, I think you got some very clean levels on ETH. And bear in mind that obviously ETH is basically a massive proxy for alts. So, yeah. I would love continuation. And I would love continuation up to this previous level here. And that is what is called an emotional bias, because it will make it easier for me to long altcoins. But equally, if we are to hold this area up here at this range, then now arguably is a good time to start longing alts, because you have fairly clean invalidation under these lows for essentially a market structure play of around like this. You would expect that, okay, well, if this is going to hold, then you definitely don't want to see it come down here. And actually you want to see at least range highs, and you want to see at least then ideally move onwards and upwards and continue that trend. So it's not too bad, but obviously I am not positioning for it personally. But I will claim clout if that happens. Yeah, that's how it works, right guys? I think. No. Just to be very clear, you don't get clout if you don't take the trade, is my personal view. I think that, like, literally, yeah, there's analysis and then there's execution, and anyone can be an analyst, anyone. Executing on the other hand, and executing well, and executing, in, people say, oh, difficult conditions, blah blah blah. Well, as long as it's moving, it's not too difficult. But yeah, big difference. So someone wanted me to talk about AO. Does anyone in the chat actually know what AO is? Nope. No, Marcus doesn't. It's too simple for Magus. I'm joking. He doesn't know what it is. Awesome oscillator. Yeah. But you actually know what it is, how it's calculated. Without Googling it. Strength and weakness momentum indicator. Yeah. You may. Yes. Momentum that moves slower. Okay. Right, let's do a lesson, shall we, boys? That's a messy chart. Let's just go on something random that I haven't got. So, I did do a rather nice presentation on Awesome Oscillator and all the different uses for it, but I will keep a very simple explanation here. It is a 5 and a 34 EMA, which is a default setting, and all it is doing, you will notice here that there's a cross. What is wrong with me? Again, I need to play aim map or something before I come on these streams. There's a cross of that EMA here. There's a cross here. Right? So all it's doing is plotting the gap here between those two EMAs. You'll notice that here is like the largest. Again, that's the largest. As a standard histogram, essentially. Where 0 is the 5 and the 33 or whatever it is. 34. Ugh. Good job I'm not an accountant anymore. Are equal. And that's all it's doing. So it's always funny to me when people who are like AO momentum traders are like, lol, EMA traders, they're so redacted. It's like, my brother in Christ. You are using EMAs, you just don't know it. Ties into Jim MA rant. I haven't seen his Jim MA rant. I saw his tweet that just said MAs are dynamic support and resistance, and I just watched people get triggered by it. But yeah, that's all it is. So, you know, what can you kind of glean from it? It's just about strength of trend, strength of momentum. So obviously the bigger the actual AO print, the bigger the difference between the short-term trend and the longer-term trend, right? And then if you start getting large divergences in momentum, not that that's a div, because they are equal highs, but let's just pretend for a second that they're not. You know, you can start seeing that short-term momentum is actually waning, and that can be a good sign for a reversal. Look at me going into teacher mode. Look at that. I answered a question. I feel good today. Insert comp D's nuts. God's sake, boys. Oh dear. 992 followers, come on, 8 of you, and 69 people watching. 8 of you, just hit that cheeky follow button, hear Michael Saylor's wonderful voice, and then I will genuinely send it to my mum on WhatsApp. How do you gauge if AO div has played out? Oh, that is secret sauce. No, it's not really. I mean, genuinely, if the price has done that, it's probably played out. There's a couple of like typical rules, I guess, with AO divs. I'm probably going too much, but typically an AO div, once it's had 2 bars, that's kind of it in the opposite direction. That's when it confirms that is, you know, a trend reversal or potential trend reversal. If you could only use one indicator and the chart to trade it for the rest of your life, which indicator would it be? Price. Yeah, I quite like price. It's quite helpful. Market's going to range when Charlie shitposts 10 out of 10 indicator. Yeah. My shitposting has been like not to suck myself off too much, but it has been next level. I've got quite a lot of engagement and impressions and all that kind of wonderful stuff in the last 2 weeks. Maybe I run a course on shitposting or something. But honestly, it's so disproportionately like rewarding you post a setup and you talk about it, you go, oh guys, I might long this here if this happens, and then da 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 da. It's like 7 likes. And then when you retweet it 2 weeks later with the profit, it's like, oh, lovely. This guy knows what he's doing. Or you just shitpost a meme and it's like, there's, 2 million impressions, hundreds and hundreds of likes, my phone doesn't stop going, my wife thinks I'm having an affair. It's mad. But anyway, Atom. Anyone long Atom? Anyone touching this piece of shit? We're your girlfriend now. Yeah, not your husband, our husband. Did you already cover Avex? Yeah, kind of. Meme line good. Not the worst level you could possibly want to long from. Let's just take some of this stuff off. But, me personally, there's no relative strength yet. I will caveat that. There's no, let me just double check. The same kind of orcs div here. Yeah, it's not particularly clean. And I'm still holding my BTC short. So it doesn't make sense for me to position into this. Blind bids for 9k? Wow. I mean, wow. Alright, let's do something in chat. Type in how low Bitcoin is going to go. What is the bottom of this cycle? And 0 is not an answer. 0 gets you banned. I want to see how bullish or bearish people are. Peter Gas banned. 0. 5k. 10k, 14, 12, 11, 4. Ooh, someone wants pain. 16, 2, 10 to 12. That's quite a range. Around 6,900. Do you know what? That would be peak, wouldn't it? That would be peak. A 69k top and a 6,900 bottom. Oh man. 6, 13, 3, top 26, bottom 7 to 10, wow. Okay, seriously, 8 to 9k, 6942, yeah, I like that. Depends if Sam will hunt Sailor. Ooh. See, it's quite interesting that, like, basically everyone has said it's quite a bit further from here. I mean, 16.8, 16.2, there's a couple of, like, higher ones, but a lot of them are, are quite painful. Bottoms in. I like that. The optimism. One person, the bottom's in, guys. It's actually, unironically, the non-crowded trade. Judging by the 78 people in the chat. When Sailor's forced to somehow capitulate. Do you think that's actually going to happen? The pain's going to be the volatility death? Yeah, that's exactly what I've said. Is that, like, Pentoshi did this tweet which says this is price capitulation. Wherever it ends up, it doesn't really matter whether it's 5,000, whether it's 14, whatever. The real pain is when you get, like, time capitulation. And we're sat in the fucking $100 range for 5 days at a time. Yeah, I don't think we're getting rid of Sailor that easily, to be honest. Oh yeah, I don't think you will. Like, I just don't. I know this is all LARPing over history and stuff like that, but probably dumb because I wasn't around back then. But I do remember this bear market, and I do remember periods like this where it felt pretty painful. I suppose it's 30%, but real pain is crab. Yeah, it is. I think genuinely people will lose their fucking minds if we crab properly. We've at least got rotations on the upside and downside on alts at the moment, and if they just die in terms of volatility, I'll be fucked. I'll have to do a newsletter or something. If he knows it never does it, may stay at 0 forever. Up the lever, volatility dies. Yeah. Would like to see improve the world wrong. Yeah, I mean, I quite like the notion of now Elon's out, right? Send it. But I don't think that that's enough for me personally to expose myself from a spot investment perspective. Not yet, anyway. And not by that rationale. I think XO covers this point really nicely, which is, the deeper it goes, the more bullish I get. And I posted something similar, like this morning, I think, which is, people want 100x altcoin, but they don't want the market to drop 95%. And it's like, to me, as someone who's, quite heavy in cash, if the market comes back down to here, 45 billion level, which I'm not saying it will, that's, COVID crash, that's, we have actually had, a huge amount of adoption. Or I think it's a huge amount of adoption. I don't know about you guys, but if you were around in this space, like everything that happened, Tesla, it being on Tesla's balance sheet, Sailor buying with MicroStrategy, blah, 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 like all of this stuff, El Salvador, probably here, when they declared it legal tender, all of these things are fucking mind-blowing when you're in the arse back here. Absolutely mind-blowing. So I think we've had a lot, but if we come back down, and then we still believe the case of crypto being, globally adopted, bullish, smartest people in the world are here, blah, 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 that's where you want to be accumulating for another run. I'm not saying, August 23 or something we're going to start mooning, but people in cash and not overly exposed at this point in time should be welcoming this. I should be hoping that we almost go back down to these levels, and then that makes the run up, because I do believe there will be a next cycle. That makes that even more rewarding. The crowd is when holders will be slowly forced to capitulate. Yes. Where does the narrative of wanting to liquidate Sailor come from? I don't know. I think it's just a public figurehead, isn't it, who owns BTC, and people think that that's, instead of just trading lines on a chart, which is fairly, I wouldn't say it's easy to do, but you can take all sorts of bias out by saying, oh, line's red, line bad. I actually think if you do a 3-day AO div, that was one thing in my AO presentation, that you would have essentially longed Bitcoin back here, and you would have sold it here. And same with, well, yeah, this is actually AO, isn't it? We've changed it to the settings. These these trending moves, you probably would have outperformed 98% of crypto Twitter. Still on BTC because it's cleaner rather than total market cap. But yeah, do you see what I mean? It's did I DCA back in 18? Yeah, kind of. I had like a split portfolio, and to be honest, most of my portfolio is cash now. I have some investments, I have a couple of spot bags, and I have my trading balance. But what I did back then was I had basically 25, 25, 25, 25, and I split it between Bitcoin and ETH for one stack, where I was just like, I want to accumulate this. This is kind of like my blue chip stuff. I'm going to leave that. I had 25% in trading portfolio. I had 25% in like an investment portfolio, so things like Rune, things like XMR, Tomo, and a few other things. And then I had 25% of just kind of not fun money, but like experimental money. So I locked some up in DeFi. I spent a lot on NFTs. Yeah, that for me was how I played it, and I tried to keep those portfolios separate. And when I was in 2018, 2019, like my investments basically did fuck all, and it was tragic, right? And my trading account was slowly going up, and it was quite comfy, and I was like, oh yeah, this is nice. And then when the full bull run came, all my investments, just absolutely obliterated my trading because I was in things like Rune. I did very well on my trading, but not compared to just buying and holding, as you can imagine. It was far less effort. But I mean, when you look at the market back then, I was buying in here, I was buying in here, I was buying in here. I was probably a net buyer across all of this, luckily. Too much money has come into the space in the last year or two, and we still shit the bed, which is sad, really. Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the kind of duality of that statement, like a lot of money's come in here. There are two outcomes, or three outcomes. One is nothing really changes, so let's just ignore that. The other outcome is, okay, a lot of money leaves the space. Now the question is it going to come back at some point? Is it going to be cyclical? Money all comes in, we all go up, and then suddenly we start bleeding out, everything gets boring. This was a wonderful spiral, right, back then. Wonderful. Like absolute perfect death roller coaster, right? You can't really do that here just yet. You almost got a double bubble, and then slowly we're starting to sort of spin off. Like, I know this is a fucking meme, but it just illustrates the point, right? And gradually we bleed out. How far does that go? How far until actually we start thinking, well, actually, maybe I'll put some money back into crypto again. Who knows? But if that money never comes back, then crypto is fucked, right? If basically no new money is going to enter crypto, then we're probably not ever going to see gains or conditions like anywhere near what we saw before. But my belief is we'll shake a lot of people out. Some of your predictions, some of you guys in the chat, you guys are saying like 4K BTC. How many people, even in this chat right now, are still going to be here if we get to 4K BTC? I personally don't think we'll go quite that low, but I don't think we'll go far off. I think we mapped it, didn't we, as the 6585, which I don't think is a terrible estimate, to be honest. So, yeah, bit of a rant, but along with no hesitation when Chimp starts shorting. Yeah, my guy's very bullish, isn't he? He does quite enjoy the old bull hopium. Oh, look what's strong! Yay! Crypto really does feel like a casino. It is. It is a casino. I mean, it's the easiest, like, most accessible casino to quote unquote normal people, right? If you're working a 9 to 5 and you're on £30,000 or $30,000 a year, how are you ever going to escape getting a mortgage, paying your mortgage off, paying for your food bills, blah blah blah? Like, by the time your income has come in, it's gone out again, right? So putting $500 on SHIB cum Doge Inu that might be the next SHIB is probably one of your best ways of potentially breaking the mold. And people fucking love to gamble. Goldfish memory, yeah, Magus, you're right. Like, greed will return, just needs time to reset and forget. Yeah, exactly. I just think that a lot of people underestimate. Like, my view, I guess, would be that it's going to take longer for two reasons. One, we clearly onboarded a lot more people. You know, when I created a new FTX account a couple of weeks ago, you know, I was the 100 millionth person to do so. Like, versus my main FTX account, which is the 1 millionth person, right? So it doesn't feel quite as comfy as it used to be. Better EV than lottery tickets, yeah, 100%. Better giving Charlie or XO exit liquidity than a licensed casino, yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate you. Isn't this the first macro bear cycle crypto's seen? Yeah, it is. And that's the thing, is, you know, yeah, once you get word that people are making millions again, the more people buy. Yeah, that's the thing, is the hype creates hype, which creates hype, which creates speculation, which then it is greater fool theory. So I do kind of agree with Bill Gates on that one, is that, like, well, I agree with him to a point, is that short-term price action, like especially in this kind of run-up, is greater fool theory, because a lot of these protocols, or even some might argue BTC, do not justify the kind of valuations that they are seeing, which I ranted on about earlier. So, yeah, you know, greater fool theory until there is no greater fool, and then we sell off, which is, you know, exactly what we've done. Biggest psyops to make people believe not to take risk. Ooh. To not move is to not live. Oh. Ruck's living on 100x leverage, and he's tweeting this from the back seat of his car, which is where he sleeps, because he went balls deep in ship longs. Yeah, if everyone knows when to buy and sell, the space would die. Kind of. I mean, the thing is that, like, a lot of people that you're trading against, you know, like, I was the fucking idiot. I was the idiot in 2017, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey guys, I came into crypto and I absolutely nailed it. Like, I still remember Kobe's tweet, still remember it imprinted onto my brain, and it is literally just, what are you going to do the next time you see a chart that looks like this? And he tweeted that about here, or maybe here, actually. And it was just like, yeah, you've literally got that, like, whole meme parabola of, like, excitement, rush, blah, blah, blah. And I fucking round-tripped most of that, right? Like, I took, like, 10% off at the top, or round about here, and then I round-tripped the rest of it to come out with, like, 20-30% up. Or sorry, 20-30% of my total peak worth. Yeah, it was fucking dreadful. So, you know, I was that idiot buying rumours of a logo change and all sorts of shit. You know, I thought I was a god tier trader because I predicted that McAfee was going to call DGB as his next coin of the day, and he did. So I put my entire Bittrex balance into it and watched it 2x as soon as he called it, and I was trying to fight with bots to sell my shit. It was horrific. But the boys in the WhatsApp group will forever give me credit for that one, I think. And that is literally like the edge that I was using back then. So yes, it's been quite a journey since 2017. But Charlie's McAfee, I wish. But yeah, did the same on BCH. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, is like, bear markets genuinely create good memories, and like, I was so exhausted during the bull run because I was trading, I was I was researching, I was trying to get this NFT mint, that NFT mint, get whitelist spots, and people don't appreciate the kind of calm, relaxing environment that we're in now, where actually you can let a lot of good trades come to you, you can take the time to learn, you can take the time to improve, you can take the time to think about how you want to deploy capital in a year, 2 years, 3 years' time. The thing is if it comes round again, or when it comes round again, depending on your personal beliefs, some people think, oh, I wish I'd networked, or I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd read about all these coins, I wish I'd learned to trade, or I wish I'd actually had a plan, because otherwise you just end up chasing your tail. Why am I buying this coin over that coin? Oh, some dude on Twitter said it was good. Why? What? Do you even understand the value proposition? Glad for bear market, my health and sanity take hits in bull markets. Yeah, you can't really skip a window of time. I've heard people say that, this was the last opportunity for generational wealth, and stuff like that. And there are times where I think that maybe that's true to a point, in the sense of we've got a lot more, how do I put it, a dispersion of capital. You've got thousands and thousands of altcoins now. But I think what will happen quite quickly is that as the effort for basically scammers and grifters gets higher and higher and higher compared to the potential reward, because frankly nobody's fucking, no fresh blood is entering on the next dog shit coin that might 100x, that's clearly not going to 100x and is just a shitty scam. As that becomes a poor RR trade for them, and they start leaving the market, and other retail starts leaving the market, which, by the way, I am retail, I'm not an institutional trained investor or anything like that, but the total plebs start leaving, then that's when we start bleeding out and actually start getting into, maybe this is where we're a bit more interested. Even during Great Depression, there was great opportunities. I saw a quote, it might have been XO again, who said during bear markets, stocks and shares, and obviously saying applicable to crypto, return to their rightful owners. And, there were pictures of people queuing up for watches because everyone was flipping watches and luxury watches. It's not a luxury watch if everyone can fucking afford it, right? Again, someone asked earlier about macro opinion and stuff like that. How can it be luxury if it's £200-300 and everyone can afford it? It just doesn't make sense. Everyone I know who's casually bought the bull top's burnt. Can't imagine they'll ever buy again. No idea though. Anecdotal. Yeah. So I was in a WhatsApp group, I'm still in it, with a bunch of friends. We all did it in 2017. One of them made out with about 10, maybe 12 million, something like that. He did quite well for himself. From £8,000, I think he put in. So yeah, good, very good return. One of them literally did the exact opposite, put about 10, 12 grand in, and ended up with 0. But yeah, I was one of the only ones that really stayed. Most of the rest of them did made a little bit out of it basically. But I was the only one that stayed, and when I was trying to convince everyone to buy Rune or even buy Shib, I remember putting fucking Shib in the group and they were like, what the hell is this? Just none of them were interested. And then as soon as you start seeing BTC in the headlines and you start to see, oh look, it's gone up, X amount, or Tesla report here, it's oh, is now a good time to buy. And I remember one of my mates saying I've got 200k, 250k, I think it was actually. Do I put it all into Bitcoin at let me get this right because I'll be able to remember it when I actually look at the chart. It was round about here, and I was like, mate, if you just, so I sent him a chart similar to this, and it was there, and I was like, just wait a day or two, and he was like, all right. So he waited, and he was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't buy because I can get it cheaper. And he bought then, and then he sold then, and then he rebought up here somewhere. And you know, A, it's hard giving like investment advice and stuff, but B, you know, he waited for after the COVID sell-off, and he waited basically this whole period where he could have been DCAing to get a, you know, reasonable entry to actually this is where it started getting sort of pseudo popular. What was my biggest single trade ever? My biggest single trade. It's probably my freedom for my wife. Monka. Like, I think I'll always say that my favourite trade, so I don't, like, I would rather people think that I've got $5, right? I'm trading with $10 in my mum's basement, and that's it. So, but my favourite trade of all time was Matic, and I think I said about this on my last stream, which was I basically shorted this move in May. We'll go all the way back, shall we? I basically shorted this move. I think I was talking to Jim at the time, actually, and yeah, I shorted this move basically up here somewhere. I closed it down here, and then I rode it back up, and again, all the rocket emoji, lovely. So my alt account, obviously, where all I post is rocket emojis. I think I sold into that pump there, but literally that was my favourite trade of all time because I made a fairly decent amount of cash on that. But for me, it wasn't the monetary amount. It was the, you know, most people took a 75% haircut, and I managed to absolutely crush my trading account. How would you know when to DCA in the future? Maybe what made me enter this trade, Parabola? No, I don't think so. It was if I go back far enough, I'll have the screenshot. It was basically the fact that we printed this. Bosh. So if it was going to reverse at any point, it was kind of up here. And on the day, everything was dying. Bitcoin was kind of doing this. Matic was just doing that. And it was like, one or two things are going to happen. Matic's either going to fucking shoot up, or Matic's just going to catch up with the rest of the market. And Bitcoin was going down like 1% a minute or something like that at one point. I was like, yeah, this is fucking bollocks. Like, there is no way Matic just holds the fort on this one. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sandeep Coin is not just going to be the sole survivor of a big nuke. It's just not going to happen. And that's why Spaghetti can really show you some outliers, whereas the vice versa was true of Near, when, again, we had a Bitcoin dump, we had most alts doing this, and we had Near basically doing that. A really good free trade was logging Near, because that dump wasn't too horrific, it wasn't just, you know, pile driving down. And as soon as BTC like found some demand, Near just fucking went like that. And that was a good size trade in terms of actual size. But yeah, boys and girls, I've been streaming for 2 hours now. 2 hours. And if you're not following the stream, we only need 6 more and there's 1,000. So I'd say I'm going to do a big giveaway for the 1,000th follower, but that seems a bit discriminatory to the other 999. Look at all these doodles, man. It's like a child, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I'm like a petulant child with a crayon who's just gone mad, just going, just drawing over everything. Oh, I make myself laugh sometimes. Sorry. Gotta unfollow then follow, yeah. Do you have a favourite altcoin for long-term investment? I have quite a few. In all seriousness, I do have some spot bags. I do have some that I'm quite happy to hold during bear markets. I mean, I've talked about Rune before. Like, I've made a lot of money out of Rune, so I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm quite happy to hold some of that as like how I manage like personal FOMO to long exposure. So let's say crypto just does this tomorrow, I'll at least know that I've got a bag and I've got some exposure to that upside move, even if I'm not trading it because I'm seeing family or whatever it might be. Plutus is another one that I've got a bag of. Obviously, I've not done as well from it as I have Rune, but that's so I can stake it so I get better cash back. I've got a few other bags. I've got MLT, which, disclosure, I got a very small private sale allocation for a long time ago, and I like quadrupled. No, I 10x'd that amount. Where's that? Because I actually liked what they were doing. But yeah, that's sort of pseudo come back to life. But again, you know, it nearly got to $1 before. I have got a list of low caps that I'm pseudo interested in, but I'm just not, from a macro perspective, buying many bags here, unless they've got some form of use or it's Rune, because yes, I am slightly Rune maximalist. But yeah, if I can get extra cash back from my wife's obscene spending, then I'll have that in the form of Plutus. What else? I've got a few other bags. I had quite a big bag of DOP, but I managed to get out of most of that because that basically peaked. I like the idea of borrowing and lending against NFTs, especially as at the time NFTs were coming back into hype with Otherworld and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But as you can see, it just died, as a lot of low caps did. And that's the downside of talking about low caps, boys and girls, is that if you talk about them, and if you have, some success with some, that they're kind of offset with others. You know, I've invested in probably well over 100 low caps, and 20% of them easily have gone to zero. Easily. People going to unfollow and time it? Yeah, maybe. Before I go, so I was going to link you the graphs. Yes, I'll do it. I'll do it on here. I'll try and find it. Let's have a peep. Algo layout. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. Your call is important to us. So, it's done by this guy. Hold piano, yeah, I should have muted my mic, shouldn't I? A true professional would have done that. There you go. That's the link to it. So yeah, like low caps. When will I be doing it? I mean, honest to God, I would rather see Bitcoin just go like that, die, and then start going through an accumulation phase, and yeah, buy when basically everyone thinks it's fucking dead, which I don't think people think it's dead yet. I think some of your predictions in the chat earlier around kind of, if I'm being arbitrary, it's probably around the 10k mark that the market as a whole will start looking a bit more attractive. But that's a very arbitrary number, and I've talked about it loads of times that I'm not interested in just buying like an arbitrary level. I want to see some behaviour that indicates actually, we might be turning some form of trend reversal, right? You don't need to catch the bottom, you just need to catch the meat of the move. That's it. I cannot recommend any affordable gaming laptops, I'm afraid, because the laptop that I use when I'm away is a hunk of shite, and Jim built my PC, so Jim Talbot, because you're reading spaghetti. Look. Good guy, Charlie, eh? 996 followers, come on. I will take a photo and send it to my mum. But yeah, I think that's probably it for today. I've got a Lenovo. Yeah, see, I don't even understand what all that shit is. I literally said to Jim, build me one that can handle streaming and playing computer games at the same time. And he said, buy this. It's 2k. Off we go. So I did. That was it. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. If you've got any questions or whatever, give me a shout. If you want me to record any form of like YouTube-y content, I enjoyed my stay, thanks. Then yeah, I am looking for some inspiration. So I did a Renko video and a few other bits and pieces over there. This stream will be on there as like a replay available for your general consumption. But yeah, let me know. I think we'll continue to do these on a Monday, and just as like a recap for anyone I guess who missed it at the very start, just as a like, I'm basically in a short from 24 100-ish. I'm still looking to ride that down. If we start getting a decent move up, I'll close it. I'm hedged on Matic at the moment, waiting for a breakdown of sort of semi-meme triangle. Potentially closing it soon. So I'm short from here, I'm long from here. And yeah, I'm just looking to play rotations. I think it'll be a good week to play both sides in terms of volatility. And I wish you all the best with your trading. Have a wonderful week. And peace out. Lady in red.